Hello, Gary.
Hello, Guy.
Now, with our guest today, your inner Bill Frindle must be basically wetting himself at the thought of all the stats. And actually, sorry, we should point out, because we do have an international audience, don't we? Yeah. A lot of people might not know who Bill Frindle is.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain, Gary?
Well, there's a thing over here called Test Match Special, TMS, and it's basically all-day radio describing what's happening in the Test match for
cricket,
England.
Which is cricket.
Cricket. And Bill, who I think is no longer with us, was famously one of the commentators. Well, he didn't commentate.
No, he wasn't the commentator. He was the stats man, and his thing was he could access any statistic about any game ever, right just then.
Yeah, you'd hear the ledger and the dust flying everywhere as he turned the pages looking for who last held the record for hitting a pigeon, or whatever it might be. So Guy says this because I do come up with a few stats now and again. The trouble is Diane Warren is just got the most enormous stats I've ever seen.
And you've seen a few.
And I have seen a few, and I've read a few. I mean, she's had 14 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
And hasn't won any, but was given an honorary Oscar just recently because of all this incredible nomination stuff.
She was cheated in 2016. Sorry, I've said it.
Well, you can bring that up later.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know where to start. How many single? I mean, she said 9 US number ones, 32 top 10 hits in the US. How Do I, which she wrote for Leanne Rimes, is number 6 on the 100 all-time biggest played. I mean, that is a deceiving chart now, I have to say, and I want a conversation with Diane about that, because that at number 1 now is The Weekend with the Lights single. But that's because of streaming. Streaming has sort of deformed the charts slightly. But I mean, she's got everything. 2 Golden Globes. I could go on, but could you just say who she's written songs for? Because that would be
she's written Leanne Rimes, Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, Meatloaf, Lady Gaga, Belinda Carlisle, Laura Branigan,
Cheap Trick,
Beyonce. The way to put it for our listeners is, if you have ever come home from a party in a minicab, you were listening to Diane Warren.
Yes, you said that to me on a text, didn't you, earlier?
Did.
And I think my reply to you on that was the guy that you say to the guy, "Why have you come this way?" And he says, "Sir, I didn't want to get you home before the coda," which is the kind of cabs we get in.
Well, yes, kind of cabs you get in, mate. But anyway, so yes, listen, Diane Warren, she is the ultimate sort of ubiquitous great pop songwriter. She ends every film in her own inimitable way.
Well, she's been on 100. Her music has been in 100 movies. So I'm a bit sort of overwhelmed by all this, and I think we need to show our listeners that she's probably just a human being.
She is a human being, and much like other human beings, she might enjoy signing up to Rockonteurs Extra, which you can do at rockonteurs.com.
God, you're so slick.
I'm so slick.
You're so slick. It's like you're like the Peter Powell of podcasting.
Right. It's amazing. It's almost as if our producer held something up to remind me to say that.
Yeah. So sign up and you get extras. And Guy and I have been working hard at doing some nice extras for you.
We have indeed.
You get to hear about if we're ever going to perform live again, or any events that might happen that you'd like to go to. You get the first shot of getting a ticket. Anyway, forget all that. Let's get her on.
Welcome to the Rockonteurs.
Okay, guys, I'm ready.
That's a big tune for sure. I actually wrote that originally for Tina Turner.
Of course, I had gone and found Joni Mitchell down in Florida and brought her back.
I've listened to a few of them and they've been really good, man. I'm sitting in the back of the car coming into London. They're brilliant.
That caused a big problem in the band, actually. I was having too much fun.
Thank you guys for still being around, still making music, still being into it, and doing this podcast. It's fabulous.
Well, I get the feeling that us three should go for a pint. That's what I think.
I'm in a band now. It's called Roxy Music.
You know this thing about the 10,000 hours of experience?
Oh, yeah,
get good at something. When we recorded Arnold Lane, we'd done about 50 hours.
The Rockonteurs podcast with Gary Kemp and Guy Pratt.
Keep on rocking!
Hi, Diane.
Yay!
Hi, guys.
Hi, Diane.
Wow, you look fantastic. What a great setting.
No, it's not real. By the way, I loved Spandau Ballet. So we'll start there.
Thank you. That's eased me into this because we are so thrilled to have you on. Because I mean,
why?
You know, just your legendary status alone.
No, that's not. I'm not. No.
We've had on since we started this podcast a few years ago. I think we've had 3 acts that you've written for. Belinda, obviously,
at least
Alice,
and he hasn't even checked that. We've just assumed.
Alice Cooper,
Yeah, I did.
Belinda Carlisle.
Not one of my favorite songs, but I love Alice Cooper. I probably did the worst song ever. One of not his best songs.
Actually, while we're on that, we can mention that because I noticed it was co-written, but with Desmond Child, who's obviously another huge songwriter.
Yeah, Desmond's awesome. Bed of Nails. Yikes.
How did you co-write?
I mean, I very rarely co-write, so that was that was a long time ago. I mean, I usually write by myself, but Desmond and I have done some great songs together, and I love him, and a big Alice Cooper fan. That was kind of fun, but that wasn't one of my big shining moments as a songwriter.
And Paul Stanley we've had on.
Yeah, I've done some great Kiss songs. I think I wrote the only outside song they ever did, which was "Nothing Can Keep Me From You," which was in Detroit Rock City in the Kiss movie.
But that's quite a thing of yours, Diane, isn't it? That there's a lot of people where you seem to write when no one else gets in, but you're the person who comes in and writes a song.
Like Aerosmith. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that. I think that's that's pretty amazing. Like that because these people don't need me. Whether it's, Aerosmith or like Willie Nelson did a song of mine a few years ago. It's like, it's pretty cool. Or, it's such a, it's a sign of respect and a sign that the song is really good, that it can get past that,
Well, there's 2 things going on, isn't there? There's obviously the A&R man wants to have you in, giving them possibly their biggest single on the album. But also I think a lot of artists now just simply want to sing your songs. They want to be part of everything you've ever done.
Yeah, well, hopefully. I mean, not all of them. Some of them, and I'm so grateful because I think I'm working with more, doing better work than ever and working with more artists than ever, so I feel like I'm just getting started really. And I'm always grateful, to work with great artists that they want to work with me. So.
Are you in your legendary office where you work now?
Yeah, my legendary office is down the street there, and
where no one is allowed. It seems like your fortress of solitude.
Yeah, I've been there for since like 1985, and my company was there too, and my writing room. I have actually 2 writing rooms there. And during COVID, I kind of loved it because no one was there but me. So the silver lining of COVID. And I got so much done there. And then, my company, when everybody came back, I bought a building down the street, which is where I am right now, where my studios are. And so everybody's here, but I still like it over there. So I'm there a lot of the time.
And you're sort of, the people who work for you respect that. They don't come knocking on your door. The phone isn't meant to go, or do you turn the phone off? I mean, what is your process?
At the other office? No, I just have my cell phone. I don't even know if the phones work there. I mean, I have the whole floor, but it's just me. So I really like that. Yeah. So
what's it like? Because I hear rumors that, you won't let anything be touched. It's just, literally is a cave.
It's like a house of cards in there. If you touch one thing, the whole, I've never really cleaned it or anything. So it's a mess. It's kind of disgusting. But I like it.
And how techie are you? Is it like a guitar into a tape?
How techie am I? I use laptop? A Walkman and a cassette. That's not how techie.
Bravo.
I do.
Brilliant.
And cassettes are cool again. So I guess all of a sudden it came around. But I also use my phone. I don't know how to use voice note because it keeps erasing. So I do know how to visually, so I'll do videos of when I'm writing, So I do that. So it's not just the Walkman anymore. So I've graduated to using a phone.
It's just as a songwriter, I'm keen to pick your brain. Oh,
you like my ringtone?
Is that another song you've just written?
It's Belinda.
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 We'll talk.
That was the other name. That's who else we had.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah.
I just sort of interested in that process of, is it really you go to the piano or go to the guitar and you sit and you get obviously the first stuff that comes out is very front brain conscious, and then suddenly
No,
something...
I don't think about it. I just do it, and I just I'm sometimes I have a drum beat, or I program a beat, or I just have something I like, and I'll just start playing along. It's just I don't think about it. I just do it, and I have I write titles down all the time, or ideas of songs, and just kind of just go with what feels right. It's all about, for me, what feels right.
Yeah. Is it led by a title normally for you?
I mean, I like it to be, but not always. Sometimes it's just a chord progression that sounds cool, and
do you like writing to a brief?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I love writing songs for movies. I'll read a script, or I'll see like a rough of a movie, and my subconscious, kind of gets to work, and I kind of just write what I want to see in that movie, So I love doing it. I just lost my 14th Academy Award this year.
Yeah,
so
we mentioned that on the intro.
I'm consistent, but it's awesome.
No, you've been robbed in that department.
I mean,
definitely.
you know what? I honestly think it's winning by being nominated. I mean, I'm not just saying that because they only pick 5 songs out of hundreds.
2016. I'm sorry, and that performance that Gaga did.
Yeah, that was the one that.
I mean, come on.
I know that was that was one of the best songs I ever wrote, and the Gaga's performance was stunning. All those survivors of sexual abuse, and people weren't even talking about that then. So it was, but she hit notes that I didn't even know a human voice could hit, full voice. That performance was stunning. And then I remember sitting there, and that was the year everybody said you're winning, and I kind of thought I did. And then there was a commercial break after the performance, and the winner is, and I went, the fuck. I have to admit, I just kind of went, I was like, I wish all those voters could vote again after a performance, because, but you know what? It ended up winning an Emmy, because it was also nominated for an Emmy, and that was cool. So I'd never won that before, but that song was, it was culturally really important too.
What was the movie? It was The Hunting Ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about sexual abuse on campus, but the song became bigger than that, because that song could be also about anything you go through, and more people, a lot of people come up to me and say that song really helped them.
Well, that was the great thing in that performance, because all the survivors who were on the stage were from various types of abuse, weren't they? It was incredibly powerful.
It was, that's to me one of the best performances like I've ever seen in my life, not even just I wrote the song.
But do you remember what song won? Obviously, you must do.
Yes. It was a James Bond song sung by.
Oh, right.
Sam Smith.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's lazy voting, I think. But when you wrote,
do you know what? It's so nice. Sorry, Gary. I'm really sorry to interrupt, but it's just so nice to hear someone actually be honest about an award. About not getting an award.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, I have to admit, I was kind of bummed about that, but you know what? It just that.
But just break down that writing of that song. It's Till It Happens to You, right?
Yeah.
Was that with Lady Gaga?
No. I mean, I wrote the song. And
but did you know she was going to be doing this? She was going to be singing it. Was she in your mind when you were doing it?
No, I wrote it for the movie, and I remember calling her, and I'd heard that she'd been raped by one of her producers, or so I'd heard something on Howard Stern. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna. Gaga and I had talked about doing something through the years. I go, I called her and I texted her, I go, I have to play something. I played her the song. She was sobbing at the end of it, and she just was so moved by it, and ended up doing it, but produced a beautiful record. I mean, that record was just a genius record, and she sang it so well. So that was our collaboration, really, on that song. And
what about in the production? Sometimes, are you having to let the song go, and do you ever get sort of, oh my God, I never thought it would be produced like that, and it's not quite how I would have liked it, or have you got a firm hand in it?
I don't really have a firm hand in it, because I look at it, this is my song and your record, with any artist I work with. I like to have it, sometimes I'll have more of a say than others, but it's not my record, I mean, if I'm there and the melody, if someone's getting something really wrong, or, I'm kind of a stickler, for getting the lyrics and melody right. But then I have to go step away a bit and go, maybe you're going to make it better. Maybe that melody change or that slight lip change could improve the song. So it's like, once an actor, reads a script right there, maybe they'll say it a cooler way. It's their record, my song, but it's a collaboration. You after it's out of my hands and into your voice, it's yours.
But because you were saying, because you like your just guitar into the Walkman cassette, very basic thing. But then that's for getting your ideas down. Yeah. But then when a song is written and it's going to go to an artist, then I'm presuming there's a sort of more elaborate demo that gets
we
done.
we do demos here. I mean, we produce demos that sound like records, in my studio.
And so, is there a team there who are just working?
I have some really good producers, and then there's some of these demos become records. A lot of people don't have imagination, as you know, but sometimes I love, if I'm meeting with an artist, I like to just play it on the piano or guitar, without all the production, and just kind of strip it down, and then I'll play the demo maybe, and or maybe I won't even play the demo, just maybe like let's see where you take it.
You know what I love when I was reading up about you, Diane, was you're still so keen in getting to the artist and selling your product.
Yeah.
I think, I know that recently there are two things I'm going to mention. You'll have to tell us about them. One is you fortunately sitting next to an artist on a plane, and then the other one was when Cher says that you chased her into an Al-Anon meeting with a song
after an Al-Anon. I did. I had something that was really great for her. I mean, I just don't give up when I believe in something. And the plane was Common sitting behind me. Was that you're talking about?
The rapper, yeah. The rapper, yeah.
I'd written Stand Up for Something that Andra Day was going to sing. And, it's kind of like that 60s kind of Sam Cooke vibe. And I thought, like, I want to put a great rapper on that cassette and throw different time zones in it, really, right? Because the 60s didn't have rap at that time. So what if you kind of put that together? And I thought, the perfect rapper is Common, because he has something to say. That song was, had something to say. And it just so happened, like literally the next week, he was, kind of a captive audience, because he was sitting right in back of me on a plane. And I started singing it to him. And then, he said, "Oh my God, that sounds great." And I sent him the song as soon as we landed. And I got 10 calls from him, that missed calls, that I had my phone off. And then, so that was great. So I'm an opportunist like that, I'm a good opportunist. It's just like there's always an opportunity.
Hanging around outside elevators, waiting to jump in when they get in and give them the pitch.
Anything for my songs.
If you're using a rapper, do you accept that they're going to write their rap?
I was never going to write Common's rap. Like, no, that's it. Like, I'm not a rapper, so he, was a collaborator on it.
Yeah. So if you're writing for an artist in mind, do you have to sort of soak up what they've done, and then do you find yourself trying to sort of tailor it in their, in a bespoke way?
I don't tailor a song for one artist, because I want it to be that a lot of artists can do it.
Oh, that's interesting. So, because a lot of your songs, which I guess that's the strength of the artist, isn't it? If it sounds like an artist.
Well, yeah, that's the magic.
Bringing their thing to.
That's the magic. Is I didn't maybe write it for them, but it sounds like nobody else could have done it. I didn't write "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing" for Steven Tyler or Aerosmith. I wrote the song. It turned out to find the best voice for it. I have a record coming really soon, which I think is one of the best things I've ever done. I'm not going to say anything about it yet, but it's an artist that never does other people's songs, but you can't imagine anybody else ever singing this song.
Wow.
Is it Gary?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, yeah.
Maybe we'll do something. I like it.
Listen, thank you. A good example of what you just said is Cheap Trick, when you did Wherever Would I Be, and then that goes and gets covered again by Dusty Springfield and Daryl Hall.
How cool is that, right? First of all, my favorite female artist of all time is Dusty Springfield. Yeah. So that right there was a huge honor. And then Daryl Hall's a great songwriter. Cheap Trick, Rick Nielsen's a great songwriter. So yeah, that was just amazing to have that happen with that song.
But does someone like Cheap Trick come into the room and go, "Oh, look, I'd like to talk to you before you write the song," or you just send them something that you thought was appropriate?
I did a song. I wrote a song with them called Ghost Town, and at the same time, and I friended wherever would I be. They did that. I think they did that before Daryl Hall and Dusty, right?
Yeah.
And that was done for While You Were Sleeping, for that movie with Daryl and Dusty. I was so excited that Dusty Springfield did a song of mine. I had 2 songs on her last album.
So do you meet her?
I never met her. Just I talked to her on the phone. Wow. But she was my favorite singer ever. Like her voice, it's soul. It was so warm and soulful. I just love her.
Now, I'm really sorry, but I'm itching to get back to how you started, because I can't find anything that definite on being a songwriter.
I started by doing it, just like all you guys. We started out because we loved music. I don't know.
I'm like
details. I just listen to the radio constantly.
But was it guitar first? Was it
out of guitar?
Because your dad got you a 12-string, didn't he? He was very supportive.
When I was 15, but I had one little guitar from Mexico when I was like 11. And then I bribed my dad into getting me the 12-string. So I wrote everything on there. And then someone randomly said the piano is the songwriter's instrument. So I go, I'm going to teach myself piano. So I did, enough to get by. I mean, I'm not a very good guitar player or piano player, but I could get around.
Can you remember what the first songs you learned were? Or did you just start writing stuff immediately?
I just kind of started writing stuff. When I was a big Beatles fan, like 2 years ago, the coolest thing happened to me where Ringo asked me for a song. And do you know Here's to the Nights? You know about that?
Yeah. I don't know about it, but I know this. Yeah.
It was so cool.
I've read about it.
So he asked me for a song. I go, well, I have an idea, because it's such a cool sing-along song. I go, let's get some of your old friends and get some new friends. All I kept thinking in my mind, Paul McCartney, get 2 Beatles song. And he asked Paul, and he was the first person to say yes. I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to have 2 Beatles on one of my fucking songs. And then all these other people came on board, like Dave Grohl and Chris Stapleton, Sheryl Crow, Lenny Kravitz. I'm probably leaving off people because there's a bunch of people on that song. But all in my mind, all I, to think about was,
It's like pigeons landing at Trafalgar Square. Once 1 or 2 come down, all of them want to come down and feed.
But all you want to look at is
the
2
Beatles
of them, and they're Paul and Ringo.
Yeah, everyone
it's
wants
like,
to come.
Those other pigeons are really cool, but those other 2 are like, they're Beatle pigeons.
Beatle pigeons. I love that you keep playing your latest single on your ringtone.
I know.
You've got your PR person ringing you just every now and again to let us hear it, right?
No, it's someone annoying the shit out of me. But it's a good ringtone to hear during this. We'll get some more airplay. Come on.
So I think what we were going back to what Guy was asking, and was it, obviously you mentioned the Beatles, but you wanted to be a songwriter. Was it people like Carole King, the Brill Building? Was it Bacharach?
Yes. It was the Brill Building, Carole King. It was that whole era of Barry Mann, Cynthia Wilde, Burt Bacharach, Hal David, Jeff Berry, Ellie Greenwich, Mann and Wilde, Lieber Stoller.
There's a may I say, this is a kind of a Jewish.
Yes, it's a Jew thing.
What is that?
I feel like and I feel that too. I feel like it's that I'm connected with all those people. And Irving Berlin's my hero. He wrote songs by himself and owned his publishing. And
Sammy Cahn.
Yeah, Sammy Cahn. I mean, there's some pretty good Jewish songwriters out there. So add me to the list someday. I'm happy.
Was it not wanting to be a performer? Was that?
Oh, I didn't want to be a performer.
Wanting to still make music?
No. The first money I made, I was asked to stop playing. My friend's dad's friend owned a restaurant, and they thought, well, maybe someone will discover you there. I played one song, and they gave me $15 to stop. So the first money I made was being told to shut the fuck up, basically.
But so you've started writing songs, and I think I know that Laura Branigan was your first. But how did you? What were the doors you knocked on? How did you?
I knocked on every door. I just kept knocking on doors when they wouldn't let me in. I tried to kick them down, or go through the roof or through the window, whatever. You just got to keep doing it. There's always an obstacle, and some of the fun is getting through the obstacles.
Just that first song was lyrics, wasn't it? You were writing just lyrics.
No, I wasn't on that one song. I just wrote lyrics. So I was always writing words and music, just on that one song, Solitaire. So I don't even consider that even though technically it was my first top 10, I don't consider that my first hit. My first hit really was Rhythm of the Night by DeBarge, 1985, which I did write words and music for. And then, so.
Much like sometimes, on West Side Story was just lyrics. Maybe that's.
Yeah. So. Everybody starts out, look at.
But I suppose also there were only certain artists at that time that were accepting outside songs, and that would have been the disco world and the dance world.
Well, there's always someone that's gonna want a great song, whether that and I'm really lucky because so many of my songs find great homes, so.
I wanted to sort of pick your brains on where you think the sort of power ballad came from, and I say that because. It sort of started in rock, if I'm right, with Styx, and I think "Lady" was 1973. Dennis DeYoung.
Wow.
But
sorry, guy, because I did that research. I looked up power ballads as well because you are so you do everything, Diane, but you are so synonymous with the power ballad. And the thing of I've got a theory. I actually think the first power ballad is "This Is a Man's World" by James Brown.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could hear that.
Frankly, I think that's a better pedigree than Styx to come from. I think.
When was Dream On, Aerosmith?
Dream On,
what year was that?
Oh, that was 73, 74,
because that was kind of one of the first rock ballads too.
Yeah, but I think that sort of the fact that sort of someone like Styx could come along and do "Lady" or "Babe" or.
But even going back, what about like Layla?
No, it's too fast.
Yeah.
Oh, it's more rock, rock.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you go right back, you're probably talking about Frank Sinatra and strings, Sinatra.
Well, no,
and strings
it's more the intensity thing, isn't it? It's that thing, the build and
power guitars
being big without being fast. I think that was the
right. Now you're right. I'm just trying to think.
But in a way, if it started with those heavy rock bands, it kind of made sense that at some point, your big hit was going to come from a very unexpected group. I mean, to have Aerosmith.
Yeah, we've never done an outside song except I think "Come Together," which doesn't count because it's a Beatles song. That was and it was their first number one, and they probably loved it and hated that at the same time.
It's an amazing record, and it's just.
That was like I remember hearing that for the first time and just going, because I wasn't in the studio when they did that, and just going like I never thought they would ever do my song.
I remember it in the film, as well. But but it did become that thing. I mean, does it get to the point for you, Time, where it's like it's sort of mandatory if one goes to see a big blockbuster movie, then your song is at the end of it.
So, I mean, sometimes some of them.
I walk out if it isn't. I leave. If it's not one of your songs, that's it. I'm out.
Good. Yeah, keep doing that.
But the kind of that Aerosmith song sort of established the architecture, didn't it, of how to make one of those records? Was that something that you'd always had as your secret weapon, that knowledge of building a track, or was that something
I didn't produce that song or anything. I mean, that was Matt Serletic. I mean, I wrote the song and I thought it was a great song, and I didn't even necessarily hear it as a rock ballad. I heard it as a big ballad, but give credit to the band and to Matt Serletic, because they made that the great record it is, and still to this day it still stands.
Absolutely, yeah, no question of that.
Unquestionably. I mean, and if just to talk about some other rock stars that you work with, obviously Meatloaf.
Sad.
And how was did you get to sort of hang with him?
Yeah, I met him, and that was actually one of the few times I wrote a song for somebody. Was Not a Dry Eye in the House, and I'd Lie for You, and That's the Truth.
Guys, right. And so Meatloaf.
Thank you. I know, it's a great Meatloaf title, right? He did a bunch of my songs, actually. Great. I love great singers. I love big dramatic voices and great voices, and it's sad that we lost him. We've lost so many great artists. It's just sad. And I'm glad you guys in the UK appreciate good singers. I think you do more than they do in America.
What makes you say that?
Just the kind of artists that get signed with you guys, and even like with Belinda, just we wanted to break, get the record started there, as we know that people appreciate great artists and someone that's been around that still has a lot to give.
Yeah, actually, and she's here so much. Yeah. She plays here so much, doesn't she? She's almost, we kind of think of her almost as one of our artists, In a way.
She's amazing. And by the way, She is better than ever. I did I Get Weak, in the 80s with her, which is one of my favorite records ever. And I think she sounds better. I think this record we just did is just, I'm not objective. I think it's fucking awesome.
No, we'll talk about it. I just want to, while you're on I Get Weak, I agree with you. And I think for me, it's one of the handful of records that completely sums up that decade for me. And it's just beautifully emotional. Again, I'm always so intrigued about how you delivered that song to Belinda, and if you met Belinda.
Well, I remember playing it for Rick Knowles, who was producing Stevie Nicks, and I thought it was a really great song for Stevie. And he goes, "No, I'm producing Belinda." I go, "Yeah, that'd be great." And they say, "I know." She did it and became a massive record for her. She did another song of mine on the album called "World Without You," but I Get Weak was like, you're right. Just epitomizes, just the sound of that record. You just hear that, first intro, and it just kind of takes you back. And then I, ran into her son, at a place called the Coffee Bean in LA.
Oh, yeah, we know the Coffee Bean.
I love the splendid mochas. Come on, bring them on. I want one right now. I was sitting there, and this guy came up to me, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Belinda's son." I went, "What? She has a son?" I had been so out of touch with her for like decades, really. And, I said, "Call her right now." So we FaceTimed her, and I'd just written, like literally 2 weeks ago, I'd just written Big, Big Love, and I loved the song. And a lot of times I'm always writing songs. I'm like, I have no idea who this is for. And, I wrote that, I go, I know this is a fucking hit, but for who? And then while I was with Belinda, I'm like, we were on FaceTime, I go, "Come to my studio." She goes, "Okay." And I think she was like, "Shit, what if I go there and she plays me a bunch of shitty songs or something, And so I think she was a little hesitant, and she came over and loved the song, and I played some other ones, and we just got to work, and it was so easy and so comfortable, and I just think we made it. She made a great record, If You Go is the next single.
Her voice is amazing. Her voice is amazing on it. It's still full of all the youthful vitality. It's got such sheen.
Yeah, she still sounds like a kid, and she sounds better. And Big, Big Love is doing great there. If You Go is next. I think Deeper Into You.
And can I say, it's got a little 80s sound, which I think is really just, that's what people want, Yeah, you got to know
it's modern too. Sonically, it's 80s, but it's very current. That's the.
But you ended up doing 5 tracks with her. Could you not wait and do the album and do the make a 10? Or does it? I want
to do a full album if she's down, because I already have the songs for that. But this kind of turned into an EP, and everybody's really excited. I love that it's getting great reviews, and everybody's calling me in different countries. Someone just called me from Italy today, going, "Oh my God, I'm in the gym. I'm hearing Big, Big Love." I'm like, yes.
Wow.
But it's funny. I'm glad that she loved what she heard. And it turned out, and we all love a comeback.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's called Kismet, which is you bumping into her son, I guess.
It was total and I guess he never goes to that Coffee Bean, so it was just like one of these. And what if he came there an hour earlier, or I came there? None of this would have happened. So I think that is the perfect name for this. This record. Yeah. And I was talking about we were talking about artists doing songs. It's so funny. So I wrote a song called "Only Love Can Hurt Like This" that Paloma Faith did. It's actually one of the biggest TikTok songs now ever. And it was a massive hit for her. I guess 8 or 9 years ago. And so funny. That was another kind of thing where I wrote that song, and "Only Love Can Hurt." That one, it could have easily been a 3-4 song. And I had no idea who would do it, and someone played me Paloma. I go, "Oh my God, that's who has to do it." And so I tracked her down, like we were talking about. I found out when she was coming to LA, we had dinner, and she goes, "I don't even want to know about." I said, "I have a song for you." She said, "I don't want to know about it because I write my own songs." I go, "Yeah, but what if this one changes your life? You should be open to it." She says, "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it." And then I go, "Well, let me just, when you go back to England, I'll play it on the phone to you. You have nothing to lose." So I called her. She was like, "Oh," she wasn't happy that I called her. And then I played her the song, and I went to, "So what'd you think?" And she wasn't there. She emailed me, "It's the best song I ever heard. I'm coming out and recording it." And then it became, and she did. She won the Brit. It was a #1 record for her there. But no one ever heard it really like in America. Well, some people heard it, but no one really knew who she was. But then, I don't know, all of a sudden on TikTok, it became this massive viral, there's like 5 billion impressions of it or something.
I just want to finish off on that particular point, because you just said, it might change your life.
Yeah, and it did.
And actually, that is what Diane Warren does, right? Because you did it to Cher with Turn Back Time. You reinvented her. You did it to Aerosmith. I mean, it's not uncommon for you to reinvent an artist's life.
So people should just shut the fuck up and listen to me.
But
no, just kidding.
But there's a lot of people out there who must be very grateful.
Yeah, no, some really are. Some really are. I'm grateful that they're letting me do that. So
I was just wondering, because you were saying about it being a massive thing blowing up on TikTok, and what your thoughts are on how that has changed the landscape. And like, for instance, apparently it's changed the way people write songs. A lot of songs that people feel people feel they have to start with the chorus because they've only got 40 seconds.
Someone could take the chorus out of the song though and put it on TikTok. That doesn't mean you have to start with the chorus. So I don't write songs for TikTok. I try to write great songs.
No. Yeah, but that's wondering how you find it's changed people's perception of songs.
I mean, it's changing label. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, look, I'm just happy when my songs get heard anyway, whether it's TikTok or radio or anything, movies. But the crazy thing is when labels are signing somebody off of TikTok, because TikTok is like lightning striking. You don't know, like I have no idea, like with how Only Love Can Hurt like this, with some random thing that catches fire, or some of these artists, maybe one song catches fire, but they don't have anything else. And it's really 20 seconds of a song. And I had something recently that I did that this great song was in a movie, and I had all these artists that wanted to do it, and they go, no, they went with an artist from a TikTok, basically viral TikTok. I'm like, no, that's like, don't go with that because that's a one-off. Well, Morio's play from Belinda.
Big love.
I'm not telling people to call me, but.
but I tell you where else it's interesting. This digital thing that Guy's talking about in streaming is if you've got a record. How do I live, which is in the top 10 Billboard all-time best-selling top 100. And I think it's
what number is it?
It's currently at number 6. I know it's been up to number 4, and it's probably even been higher. But at the top is a song that's the most streamed, and it's The Weeknd, and then you've got like The Weeknd, then you've got The Twist, then you've got proper records like your own that are in there that have not been big streaming records, and then the streamers come along and they can easily surpass everybody. It doesn't seem fair.
Well, and it's also not,
it's like counting the radio plays.
Yeah, the real test is longevity, isn't it? You could have a big streaming record, no one's going to know about it in a year, right?
Well, also, if you're a fan, you can just kind of do multiple streams, whereas you wouldn't buy 100 copies, but you can play it 100 times just to skew the numbers.
They got to figure that out too, because it's not really fair what they're paying publishers and songwriters, as you know.
We were talking about titles earlier, and I still think Unbreak is such a great word. Unbreak My Heart is such a great title. Well, and you get a song. Is that something that comes out after the tune, during the tune, or was that definitely I've got to keep that one?
That came with the chorus, and I was in this. I did that key change in it, and it kind of, I don't know. I can't remember if I had the title before, or I think it came with those chords. I don't think of it. It's so weird with me. Yeah, I'm just so I'm so on to the next song. I don't think about what I did.
The one thing that can't be said about you is that you've become cynical in the years, because your enthusiasm is incredible.
Yeah. I'm not cynical.
Your hunger. It's like
I'm starving. I'm starving, and literally I'm not cynical at all about music. I'm cynical about the music business. Cause how can you not be? But about the music and about writing songs, I fucking love it.
And it doesn't feel like work when you go in and write songs.
No, it's what I love. It's like breathing, or like just my favorite thing. I mean, I like breathing, and then I need to do it, but I just love to do it.
Do you feel that sometimes when you write those songs and they don't get used, that they're like children that you've had that have gone unrecognized?
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of them, and some of them are my best songs, but they'll see the light of day.
Well, that's a great thing to be able to say, because there's so many songwriters I have come across, myself included, where you work with the fact that most of your songs are never actually going to go anywhere.
I hope most of them do. But yeah,
Wait, is that why you just did your solo album recently? Which
that was like me being a DJ. That was really fun, and I did that to kind of show my diversity too of what diverse styles. Because you had Santana and Celine Dion, and then you had G-Eazy and Ty Dolla $ign and Maren Morris. And John Legend. So everything was kind of
it's like a nuts playlist if you look at it as a list of artists. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic broad ranging.
I'm really proud of that record. I love Seaside, which was Rita Ora and a Mexican group called Reek and Sofia Reyes. I still think that song is gonna come back. I just do. And some of these records, we didn't have singles rights, which was a fucking bummer. And I learned a lesson.
Sorry, what does that mean?
No, the artist from the label, because it was on BMG.
Oh,
wow.
It was fuck, you can't
do the old the thing we all used to love looking for on labels, which is appears courtesy of.
Yeah, well, they did for the record, but they still wouldn't be a primary artist.
Weird. But couldn't you pick up the phone to the artist, though, I guess? You could.
I did in some things. Well, we're trying the label, whatever. I'm still proud of the record. There's some great songs on there.
And having Santana on there, Carlos, must have been...
Yeah, Carlos Santana and G-Eazy, that song was blowing up. The video was doing great. We thought we had singles rights, and the label goes, no, you can't have them. I'm like, fuck.
Were you in the room with Carlos playing?
No, he did that in Hawaii.
Yeah, because that's the thing now. Everyone can, send it off and get it done somewhere else. We all do that.
It's also when you're, different. This record I did for this movie 80 for Brady, which has Dolly Parton, Belinda, Debbie Harry, and it was done. Everybody was in different places. Belinda was in Mexico City. Gloria was in Miami. Dolly was in Nashville. So everybody just kind of did it their own way.
What do you think about the? I just want to get your feelings on the Ed Sheeran court case, and not actually about Ed, but just this idea of copywriting grooves and stuff. It doesn't really, because it could affect you.
It doesn't make any sense. But I'm glad he won that case. Because you can't copyright a chord progression. That's just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, C A minor F G. I mean, how many people have used that?
I know. I mean, it's crazy. So when you can't really. I mean, copyright infringement, I thought was like notes of a melody and stuff. So it's getting a little crazy. People are getting like too easy with that shit. So I'm glad I'm glad they didn't win that case and that he prevailed on that. That was.
Have you got a film coming out this year that's going to go into next year's Oscars?
I think I have a few. I hope. No, I think I have a few potential. 80 for Brady, the song I did with the Dolly Parton one, Gonna Be You, which I'm so proud of. I love that record. That potentially, I have like two others I'm not talking about yet, but big movies. It's fun.
But that's what's so great, that you have this sort of place of being the movie writer. I mean, that's kind of, you have these massive pop hits, but you are so synonymous with the movie song, which is such a great thing to be.
I love it.
That's a Hollywood, Hollywood association as much as anything.
Well, it's really cool because I always loved songs and movies when I was a kid, and in fact, like November, I got the honorary Oscar, and they've never given that to a songwriter before. I don't know the next time they will, but they gave it to me, and it was such an amazing. It was the best night ever. And Cher.
You mentioned our mate Don Black.
Yeah. Yes, I love him. I talked about him in my acceptance speech.
Yeah.
He's Born Free. In fact, he co-wrote two of my favorite movie songs, To Sir With Love. Also,
that's right.
Those that and Born Free are my two. Are my two favorite movie songs.
Who's written the most movie songs? Is it someone like Sammy Khan or someone I don't know? I mean, who's written? Is it you? It's got to be you, right?
It would be someone who wrote musicals, though, wouldn't it?
Probably. And there's a bunch of people that have done movie songs.
And you don't fancy musicals, do you? There's a jukebox musical, isn't there? But you don't fancy writing a musical, Diane.
There's kind of a jukebox one. I mean, kind of a jukebox one being done on me right now, but there'll be new songs too, so not just jukebox. Because if it's just jukebox, it's so boring. Like to me, because I always want to do new songs for it.
Because I guess you want to be an EGOT.
But the idea of a story.
That'd be fun. Right now, I'm an ego. I'm an ego.
You're an ego.
Well, Emmy, Grammy, Golden Globe, which I don't think counts, but to me it does, and honorary Oscar. So there's an Oscar in there. So I'm an echo.
There you go.
I still haven't won the competitive Oscar, so I'm still trying.
And an Ivan Novello. I was there when you got your Ivan Novello, by the way.
Yes, that was really cool.
I applauded. Stood
Thank you.
Yes.
I saw a picture of that, and I was really like, I had this really ugly jacket on, and it's like, why did I wear? But that's a big honor. So I remember that. That was awesome.
Diane, thank you so much for coming on, speaking to us.
Great to talk to you.
Well, your enthusiasm is definitely infectious. I feel like I need to definitely work my. In fact, you have inspired me towards the piano.
Go on, get off and write something. Great to talk to you guys.
Lovely, thank you so much.
And you, good luck with the album and with Belinda's single.
Thank you.
Well, you know what, Guy? The thing that occurred to me during that interview is living in LA definitely helps in whatever you're doing in this world of showbiz,
Absolutely.
right? Because you've got to bump into people on planes or going into an Al-Anon meeting or coming out of one.
I think going into that's probably the most peak LA thing. I know, it's exactly, I mean, because where else would that happen? Can you imagine? It was like, well, yeah, I mean, I luckily I bumped into Cher in Primark in Huddersfield, and that's how...
Yeah, and it did make me want to go to LA, actually, because I could see the LA scene outside of her window there behind her.
Yeah, but there was all that traffic noise. That was putting me off.
The pollution. Yeah, you can get wheezy, can't you?
You can get wheezy, Cal, especially at our age.
But no, inspiring person, I mean, and just full of lust for life, of creativity.
It's that, but what's it? Because it's what's interesting is that there's the mountain which she climbed, and then she just reclimbs the mountain again, doing the range, But it's not like it's like once you've ticked that box or those boxes, all you can do is tick them again. I mean, I don't mean that in any sort of belittling way. I mean, it's an amazing.
And is the mountain in LA? The mountains in LA.
The what are they called? The San Bernardino. No.
Yeah, but the metaphorical San Bernardino.
Yes.
Right. Okay. We're rambling. So I'm going to go off and try and write a song.
Oh, would you?
Phone Steven Tyler.
It was you who pointed out. It's funny. I was wondering, by the way, if you were going to do this, or I was thinking if you were, maybe I should. But then perhaps it's probably best that neither of us did, because it was you who pointed out that she's written something like 14 or 16 songs with the word "don't" in the title.
No, it's not just the word "don't" in the title. It said the word "don't" at the beginning of the title, which is an interesting thing, and they were all successful. So that idea of
positive
rejection,
yes,
that's what. Don't do this, don't do that. I mean, that's what people like to hear. Don't.
Well, it's punk, isn't it? I don't want to.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Can I do this bit then? Thank you for listening.
It's your turn.
Thank you for listening. Thank you to our producer Ben Jones of Gimme Sugar for making this work, and don't forget to sign up if you want extras, which we're working hard at. And anything else, Guy?
No, I was just going to say the extras, which I must say are really good fun.
They are. And can I say, next week is a live show, right?
Very, very exciting. In fact, next time you hear us, we will either be coming down from the heights of our fabulous success, or we'll be nursing broken wings.
No, I think we're actually on stage. The next time they hear us is a recording from the Screen and the Green.
Right. Sorry, yes. I really made a mess of that. So yes, the next time you hear us, we will be live on the screen at the Great. Yes, and then the time after that will be something like this.
Yeah, right.
Fucking lost it.
Okay, that's. Thank God we're sold out.
Yeah,
we would have
this
just
is rubbish.
Unless they're sending tickets back, this is rubbish. All right, it's good night from me.
It's good night from them.
Rockonteurs is produced by Gimme Sugar Productions for Warner Music Group UK.